Yeah. And the reason I started it was because COVID had come around out. Well, we could play, right? We couldn't get together and play for rehearsal. We could, because that when everybody was locked down and all that stuff. And then I was like, I started watching some videos on YouTube, and I asked my brother, I was like, I'm thinking about trying this. He's like, I don't know if I could do it to this level, because I actually watched, I think it was like the Delta Empire, the channel Delta Empire, where that dude's like he's a smoking drummer, and he does like a lot of Pantera and like a lot of Sepultura and all that heavy metal stuff. So I was like, I want to try something like that. I said, I don't know what kind of quality I'm gonna be able to get, but I was like, all right, we're just gonna try it. So.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters in That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. And joining me today, hailing from Vermont, it's Joey Clark, everybody.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here.
Thanks for coming on, Joey. And how's the weather up there in Vermont? Because it's been kind of a little miserable down here, and I hail from Pittsburgh, so just in case. Yes. Most people tend to ask where I'm at.
Yep. And I probably would have asked you that. Now, so it was nice. I mean, it was in the about 50 degrees, and then I had just looked out the window before I came down here to do the interview, and it had kind of been a snow-rain mix, and it was going sideways. So it's not that nice out right now. So, yeah, we're probably having the same sort of weather.
Yeah, you just know spring likes to hang on to stuff before May comes in. You start getting the nice summer and the summer heat and all that stuff, and then doing all the yard work and the crazy sweats and back pain and everything else that comes with it.
That's right. I look forward to that.
Yep. We'll get a good workout then.
No, just kidding.
Yeah. All right.
That's right.
Okay. So, Joey, I started this podcast this year, and I've reached out to other drummers who have a good amount of presence. I know yours is a good channel and it's still growing and everything. I wanted to just kind of interact with other drummers and get to know them a little bit more. And yours was a fascinating story because you had done an interview with Eric Henninger, aka Drumatic, and did he reach out to you about that?
Yes, he did. He reached out to me. Well, we had been conversing quite a bit. Like, I've actually become pretty good friends with him. And then he asked me if I wanted to come on the backbeat, and I said, of course, I would love to come on the backbeat. So that's how I ended up there.
Yeah, and yours was definitely a powerful story, and I guess we'll get to that in a little bit. So I just got some questions here for you, and I think some of it might reiterate some of the points you and Eric had talked about. So you ready?
Okay.
All right.
I am.
First question. So tell us a little bit about yourself, particularly your drum history.
Drum history, yes. So I got my first kit when I was 2.5. And it was like an old McDonald kit. So it had like a bass drum, a little drum, and a little cymbal. I was so small I could not even touch the bass drum pedal. And I believe what I remember happening is I think I threw the whole kit down a staircase, and I jumped through the head of the bass drum. And that was the end of that. Fast forward to 1987. So I think I'm 9 years old. And I'm in 4th grade, and I'm allowed to take drum lessons and join the elementary school band. So that's what I did. So really the first audition that they had me do was like clapping. So she'd be like, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'd just follow her. We didn't even play the drums. We just clapped, and if I had the rhythm, I made the band. So I had the rhythm, and then I got into the band. And all through 4th grade, all the way through elementary school, through high school, even through college, I took lessons in school, and I took private lessons because there was a drum instructor in my high school as well. And so I would go in certain periods, I would go do drum lessons as well as the symphonic band. I'd do the jazz band. Occasionally I'd go and the chorus needed a drummer. So if they were doing like a Grease, like medley or a Beach Boys medley, I'd do the drums for that. And then we do jazz band competitions where we would go to we went to Florida. We played at Disney World. We got to go underneath the tunnels, and then the stage was all set up, and then it rose up from the bottom of like the tunnels that we were in. It was cool, crazy, and cool at the same time. And we did a couple competitions. So we did a competition in Florida, and then we did a competition in Williamsburg, Virginia, and I think we came in first on both of those. So, and then through college, I stayed in the jazz band. I did the symphonic band, and they had a drum teacher there, and I took lessons. That was probably about a year, maybe a year and a half there, and all through that whole time as well, I had many bands. So I had everything from hardcore, heavy metal. I was even in a death metal band at one point, which made it pretty famous. It was called Skinless, and they've toured all over the world. And I think they're still playing now. And then I did everything from kind of your pop rock and some alternative bands as well. And then I got, in 2001, I got to go on my first major tour across the country with a band called Nash. In 2002, I got to go and fill in for one of my buddies and play in a band called Primer 55. And that was a pretty big tour. I had a lot of new metal bands. So the headliner was Dope, and then Primer 55. There was a band called Skin Lab from San Francisco, and then there was a band called Society One from Los Angeles, which had a guy named Matt Zane. And you can just go look him up, and there's some wild, insane stories about that guy. And then from there, in 2008, I did my last tour, and that was with a band called Half Past My Sin. And we got to tour with a band called The Dreaming, and the singer of that band was from the band Stabbing Westward, which was previous fame in kind of the early 90s through the 90s. And so that was kind of cool. And then after that, I had to make a choice to, kind of make a living, because I wasn't really making a lot of money doing touring. So that's when I kind of just put the drums as more of a hobby, and then took the touring and stuff off the shelf. So
you also
that's a history of my drum.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But
go ahead.
During Eric's interview, you said you had kind of spiraled down and hit rock bottom at some point. Was that due to the stresses of touring, or just personal matters?
So that was more personal, because that stemmed back to when I was a teenager. So I started taking drugs around 18, and I stopped taking drugs around 33. So all through that whole time, I mean, it kind of escalated, and then I know I was in and out of rehabs, and when I hit rock bottom, what happened is I stole 600 pills from a pharmacy, and I got arrested, and I lost my job. And what I had done is I put myself in rehab, and I tried to kind of get ahead of the game. So, because I was looking at 15 years in prison if everything were to be pushed to the max. I was looking at 15 years per so 5 years per bottle of pills that I had stolen. Luckily, I was able to turn myself around by going. I was in rehab for 2 years, and in that same time, I started volunteering at a local gym, and through that, I was able to find my way kind of out of that situation. So I was able to take my lifestyle and change it from drugs and alcohol to fitness and trying to be more healthy. So I parlayed that into opening up a personal training career, I guess. And now I've been doing that now for 9 years. So, yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
That's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And
the in-depth.
The more in-depth story, yeah. And it's good to see you're doing well, too. And that's it's not an easy thing to come out of either. And there's been some folks, tragically, that haven't come out of the story, that have kind of a similar story that you have. So it is good that you're doing well, and we're really glad to have you in the drum community too, Joey.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. And just kind of get back into more of the lighthearted side. You said you were playing with the guys from Skinless, that death metal act.
Yeah. 1996. So I grew up with them. they were from around the same area that I'm from. So I lived in Saratoga Springs, New York. They were in Glens Falls. It was literally a half an hour away. We started playing shows together. Like I think we were in 10th grade, and my friends in my band would go up to a club in their town, and every Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, all these bands would just get together, and then it was like they would just play, and all our friends would come hang out, and then it would just be rotated. You know, everybody had their own equipment, but you could just go play and do your set. And you know, we were playing like Sepultura and like Metallica and like some heavy metal stuff, and then we ended up meeting the guys from Skinless, and then let's see, this I was like 94, 95, I guess, and then fast forward 2 years, and then they had lost their drummer or something happened, and I went and played with them for a couple months, but I just wasn't a death metal drummer. I liked playing. I loved it, playing fast and all that stuff. But it just wasn't for me. So, you know, I did it for a couple months, and I was like, I wanted to go. I was still in my band that I had, which was called Straight Jacket, which was a pretty decent heavy metal hardcore band that had some. We were starting to get pretty good notoriety and stuff. So I wanted to go back and play with them. So that's what happened.
Oh, yeah, what could have been. I think last time I checked,
I know, right?
I think Skinless was still touring. I don't know if they made any new albums recently. I think it was like a couple of years back, 2017 maybe. I'm not sure. So,
yeah, I know they went out to California because I'm still friends with all of them. I know they just went out to California and played like a Death Fest or something out there. And actually, the new collaboration video that I'm doing is with the old Skinless bass player. So him and I, we still collect. We was supposed to do my Pantera video, and then he couldn't get his equipment to work, and so we had to come up with a new video. So now we're doing Stone Temple Pilots Plush, and he's gonna be on the bass. So it kind of came around full circle.
Yep, it did. And that's pretty sweet. And
yeah,
good to see that you're still friends with them too. So it's definitely good having those kind of connections as well.
Yeah. They try not to burn bridges.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you ever see them, tell them they're invited to come on too if they want to, and then say, "Hey, I'd love to have you guys on." Okay. That's all we'll say.
I will pass that along for sure.
I need you to be
talk to one of them.
Messenger.
I can do that. I have no problem with that.
All right. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Talk about your kit back there. What kind of brand is that?
Sure. Yeah, the kit is Pro Masters. It's a custom session, I think, or Pro Masters custom. Yeah, no, because I had a custom made from Pearl. So from 2003 to 2005, I had a Pearl endorsement. So I had to make it's a maple kit. It's a 4-ply. The toms and bass drum are 4-ply maple, 6-ply reinforcement rings. The snare drum I'm using right now is my Attic Custom Drums snare drum, and I'm proudly endorsed by. And this is it's a 10-ply maple with a white sparkle finish, and then the black chrome hardware. Because I wanted that to match my black chrome hardware on the drums, but I wanted the snare to pop out from the black sparkle, so I thought the white sparkle would accomplish that. And it's kind of like my ode to Lars from the kit he had on the And Justice for All tour and the Black Album tour, when he had the black and white kit. And I always loved the way that looked. It just had the way it popped off on stage with the black and white hardware. So it's kind of like a little tribute to that as well. Whether you like Lars or not, it's a whole different story, but whatever. And then I use A Custom cymbals, Zildjian. I have the A Custom, this is a 19-inch hand-hammered China. This is a 19-inch projection crash, 8-inch splash, 21-inch Mega Bell ride, which I highly recommend to anybody, because that thing cuts through no matter what kind of music you play through, that cuts. This is a 18-inch A Custom crash. This is an 18-inch A Custom China Lowboy. And this is an X-Hat, is actually a Sabian Paragon 13-inch Neil Peart hi-hats. And then the sticks I use our Dennis Chambers Zildjian signature stick. And I've been using this for, I think, 5 or 6 years now. And I really like it. So
I don't think I saw the Sabian. Can you just move the camera over a little bit?
yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't do anything to ruin the shot.
No, right here.
Oh.
So we got the Sabian. This is the hand hammer China. And then the projection, 19-inch projection crash right there. So.
Oh, man, that's so sick.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I love A Customs. They, well, when I buy a cymbal, I want it to sound like breaking glass. So like when I come down and smash, I want it to sound like breaking glass. I think I got that. I think it was like I read an interview with like Vinnie Paul, and he's like, when I get cymbals, I want them to sound like breaking glass. I was like, I want the same thing. So that's what I try and find when I buy a cymbal.
Speaking of Vinnie Paul, was he like one of your biggest influences?
He is definitely up there. I was thinking about this. If I were to pick, all right, like 5, maybe 5. I mean, I was asked about my 4. So I saw Bonham is my top. Neil Peart is my second. Buddy Rich is my third. And then I'm going to take a Tommy Lee and put him in there. And then like a Vinnie Paul probably, or like a Tony Williams. But the whole reason I'd say this is because I'd like the swing that Bonham has in his groove, the technicality of Neil Peart, not only like the time signature stuff, but really the way he plays. Like I just love the way he hits the drums and stuff like that. It just makes sense to me the way his ride cymbal is, the way he plays the ride. Buddy Rich is just because, man, that dude was just phenomenal. And when I was in jazz band, that was like, you know, my idol. Like just the snare drum work, the quickness, the speed. I mean, that dude, he was doing blast beats before they even knew what blast beats were. And I don't even think, if you don't know that, you know, if you don't listen to that, but he was totally way ahead of his time. So, and I put Tommy Lee in there as just for the show. Like when I go to a concert, I want to see the drummer put on a show. And to me, no matter what you think of his playing, when you go to a crew show and Tommy's playing, it's just always just a show to watch, you know. The spins, the whole drum set going upside down, or the roller coaster, whatever. So that's why I put him up in there. And then I was thinking, because Tony Williams was versatile with the fusion and the jazz, and he could basically play anything. But Vinnie Paul with the power, because I love drummers that are just like so powerful. Like the first drummer from Sepultura, Igor Cavalera, Vinnie Paul, like this just sheer, like just brutality, you know, heavy drums, really big drums, and just big sounds. Like I'm just a big fan of that drumming. You know what I mean? So if I could put all those styles together, and that's what I would try and do. Or that's what I try and do anyway, is put all that stuff together, and then you get what I do. Good or bad. So
yeah,
those are my. Yeah, go ahead.
Those are your top influences. Okay. Especially with Vinnie Paul's, I guess sometimes when he emphasizes on the double bass at times. I know Primal Concrete Sledge was one prime example. I know he did it. I think it was Hard Lines and Sunken Cheeks was another one where he did that whole double bass. I could be wrong. I hope I didn't get mixed up. I hope I didn't, but someone can correct me otherwise.
Primal Concrete Sledge it's all double bass, and he's got between a hi-hat and then the toms and the double bass. And then it comes into that part where it's like the middle part where he does the triplets, or the gallop. Yeah, I love that. I mean, all that stuff is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that.
I didn't know it was actually Igor Cavalera who was Sepultura. Was that when they first started out?
Yeah. So from the first album to the album, right after Roots, he did one album after his brother left, and then he quit. And then they got Eloy. Can't remember his last name, but that dude smokes too. They have is phenomenal. sometimes I grow up listening to the band, and I'm just a fan of because that drummer was an influence on me when I was younger. So it's hard for me. I'll still listen to the band with the new drummer, but I still favor the stuff with the drummer that I grew up listening to. I do that with like Pearl Jam. When Dave Abruzzi's left, I was like, I'm done with this band, because he was like one of my favorite drummers at one point. But what are you gonna do? They don't play the band anymore, so you just follow the drummer.
Yep, shit happens, and turns out they favorite musician just gets up and leaves. So,
that does happen too.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Sepultura, because I actually heard that one of the metal concerts they did before the first group came on, they did Sepultura's Territory, which I don't know, was that Igor Cavalier or was that somebody else?
That was Igor. Yeah.
Oh man,
I love that song. I did a cover of that. That's one of my favorite. That drum riff in the beginning is one of the coolest, where he's going between the toms, China, and then a crash cymbal. And I was actually watching an interview with him, and he's like, how did you come up with that? And he's like, well, I was listening to Primus, and I was trying to mimic something that Tim Alexander from Primus was doing, and I came up with this. I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense, because then I kind of listened to it. I was like, oh, I could see how that could be. So that's how he came up with that kind of drum tom cymbal riff. So it's a great intro. Yeah, it's a great song to play on drums. Actually, it's really fun.
No, absolutely. You know what? I always feel bad because I never really quite understood Primus, to be honest, because it seems like at times it would be like a metal act, but it strikes me more as like more of rock, maybe hard rock, so to speak. Like Jerry was a race car driver, and then there's My Name Is Mud. Those are pretty much the only two I hear, to be honest. But
yeah, I don't even know how you would classify it. Like, My Name Is Mud is like, there's certain bands where you just say that's the band. Like, that's just Primus. Like, there's no other. You don't really need an explanation. That's just Primus, which I think. I mean, they're all in their own right. Like Tim Alexander was a great drummer. I don't know who they have playing now, because they've had so many. But that's kind of like. I kind of like, after he left the band, I didn't really listen to Primus all that much after that either. So I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of a finicky when it comes to drummers, and certain bands I won't listen to them when that drummer leaves. But yeah. It's like a bad relationship or something.
Well, it always struck me like the bass player was the one that dominated the scene with Primus.
Oh, well. Yeah, Les Clay. Yeah, well, I think he was kind of the instrumental figurehead behind a lot of that. I think. I mean, I could be wrong, but a lot of it seems to stem around his bass playing versus the guitar player, who was just kind of doing weird noises and noodling around the guitar.
I'm sure he was like a finger picking or doing what I call it bass slap, or just like.
Yep.
Bass slap, really.
Yeah, with the thumb and the
term. So.
Yeah. That's a good term.
Whatever you want to call it. Slap happy. How about that? He's going slap happy on the bass.
He's slapping. That's it.
Okay. Let's jump to your YouTube channel. When did you start it, and what do you hope to achieve?
So I started it last January. So January 2001. Yeah, and the reason I started it was because COVID had come around. Well, we could play, right? We couldn't get together and play for rehearsal. We could, because that when everybody was locked down and all that stuff. And then I was like, I started watching some videos on YouTube, and I asked my brother, I was like, I'm thinking about trying this. He's like, I don't know if I could do it to this level, because I actually watched, I think it was like the Delta Empire. The channel Delta Empire, where that dude's like he's a smoking drummer, and he does like a lot of Pantera and like a lot of Sepultura and all that heavy metal stuff. So I was like, I want to try something like that. I said, I don't know what kind of quality I'm gonna be able to get, but I was like, all right, we're just gonna try it. So I had some mics that I had for playing live, and then I bought this L12 mixing board back here, and then I had two cameras. I had my iPhone and one GoPro, and then I just started putting the videos together. Once I figured out how to sync my audio and my video together, it took me a while how to change angles and stuff. But once I figured all that stuff out, it became pretty smooth. And I just like to practice a lot. So I would like kind of, if I messed everything up, I would just start from the beginning and do the whole thing again. And I would just call that practice because I wanted to get better at the production part of it. And what I started doing, like trying to get as many covers out as possible a week. But as I started going and getting more subscribers, I want it to be more as quality instead of quantity. So I've been really focusing on not releasing so much, but taking the time to like really kind of perfect my playing of the song, and then perfect the quality, the production, and then even like the video. Because I did like a Led Zeppelin song where a lot of the song there's not any drums. So I'm like, so what do you do there? Because nobody just wants to sit there and look at me kind of sitting behind a drum set, waiting for the drums to start. So I started using like these overlays and then with transparency, so you can see me through, but there's like motion, or you're like kind of moving, so you feel like you're on a journey. So that last video I did, which was Ramble On, I incorporated some of the Lord of the Rings stuff in there and tried what the lyrics are about. I try to put into the video, so it kind of makes it a little bit more viewer friendly, as opposed to just a drum video where it's just a drummer and you're just watching no drum. You would normally watch a guitar player or a singer, but you got to kind of figure out something to put in there to make the viewer sit there and watch it. Otherwise, they could just go watch any other video that's on YouTube. So that's kind of my philosophy at the moment of how I'm doing things with my channel. Yeah, but that's how it started. It was kind of out of boredom and to see if I could do it. So yeah. What was the other part of the question?
It was basically what were your plans and goals for this year and beyond? Kind of a 2-in-1 there.
Yes. So what I'm trying to do is reach out to see. I'm not great. See, I don't know if I could do like an interview thing like this with everybody, but what I can do is try and make collab videos with certain drummers that I really like, and maybe I want to help try and get them and push them out for more people to see. So I've just been reaching out to our drummers and trying to do collab videos like that and promote it. Like if I like a video, I'll throw it up on Facebook or whatever and promote people like that. Versus me, I'm not as much of a talker. I'm more kind of introverted, so to speak. You know what I mean? So and then at some point, at the moment, I'd like to get to 700 subscribers. I'm at 650. So my little goal is to get 10 more subscribers, and I'm going to be a happy camper. Big goal would be 1,000. If I could get to 1,000, that would be awesome. And then another thing I would probably try and do is like more videos, like maybe instructional type videos. It's like, I want to know how I tune my drums. So maybe I'll do like a video on how I tune my drums, and not just do like covers and stuff like that. So, maybe like pick a rudiment or something like that and then kind of demonstrate it and then put it into like a beat or something like that, more instructional kind of stuff. So that's those are my goals. That's what I'm thinking about.
It's funny you mentioned that you're kind of more of an introvert too, because that's been kind of my problem too. I recognize that because I did sales for literally just a month before I realized that I hated that kind of position. So I realized I wasn't good with strangers, but I like doing this better because, first off, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just kind of have a normal conversation with you. So that's why,
right.
I should say, it's just another reason why I started the podcast and then reaching out to drummers like you and other people in around the States and even worldwide. I'm actually pretty happy I was able to expand this worldwide. So it's actually been good, and I'm actually pretty happy.
Yeah, Joaquin on there.
I'm sorry, what?
That's great. Well, I saw you're getting Joaquin on there from El Baterista.
Oh, yeah. Joaquin Villanueva.
Yeah. Yes. I'm very excited about that. I've become very good friends with him. So Well, that's one of the cool things about this is I've talked to people all over the world now that I've never would have talked to before. So that's pretty cool, and especially like in drummer world. I used to go to like the modern drummer festivals back in the day, like early 90s, like 93, 94, 95-ish. And so they'd bring all these, famous drummers down to New Jersey, and they do like the clinic. And it was all put on by modern drummers. So you get free swag. They have contests and you could win stuff. And but the community, it was like this big just community of all drummers. So everybody's just talking about drums. And this reminds me, this YouTube drum thing reminds me of just a bigger global scale of that kind of, group of people, which is very cool. So, or it reminds me of like being in band and all the drummers were in the back and we were like the cool kids and all the people in the front weren't as cool as the drummers. So,
yeah, the girls weren't making out with the guitars. They were going back to the drummers.
Or the trombonist or the tuba player.
Maybe. The tuba player.
So.
Tuba player.
I'm joking.
I know. That's a good one.
We were the part of the troublemakers that used to get kicked out of band more often than anybody else in the band. So that's for sure.
Oh yeah. It was just an excuse like, hey mom, I picked up an instrument, and like it was just something to get an easy grade on or something like that.
Well, the whole reason I picked drums is because I was able to play them in school. I could give me an instrument that I could play. I could go and take a period and take a drum lab. And I'd much rather do that than go to math class.
Anything but math.
I like history. I'm just math and me I don't like math. So, but I was like arts and music. That was my major.
You said history was,
which is why history. I loved history. I still love history because I still read. I have a bookshelf full of history books, and I still read them all the time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I'm a big fan of that. So, go ahead.
All right. Next question for you. What do you love most about drumming? Is it more of the exercise or just the fact that it gives you a little bit of creativity?
Both. The creativity, I'm going to go with number one. The exercise is definitely a number two, because sometimes when I don't want to go walk on a treadmill, but I got time to go play the drums, I'll go play the drums for about an hour, 45 minutes, and I'm sweating. And it's a great workout. So I think the whole physical, the training part of it plays into the drumming for me. When I play a gig, I got to play for 3 to 4 hours a night. So you need, some physical stamina. And I try not to just play like, I have to tone it down sometimes because I get like I'm not playing that at arena, but I feel like I am. So I'm coming and I'm smashing, I'm crashing. And then the band is like, we can't hear anything. And I'm like, oh, all right, I need to pull back on my end. And then everybody will be kosher on their end. So I just got to remind myself sometimes, I can't be bashing and smashing all the way through the entire set. So, but it's physical, it's creative, and that's why I love doing the whole. Just one thing with YouTube is I can do everything that I love, which is creating with computer graphics, computer graphic design, the video editing, the music production, and then the drumming. That comes full circle with everything that I did as an art major and music major from high school and college. So that came full circle as well. So yeah, that's very cool.
That's pretty sweet. What do you hope to achieve with your YouTube channel? Are you hoping to be more of an influencer to other people out there, or do you hope to gather a nice following and then just...
Well, I would like to inspire people instead of like, I'm just not, it's great to get a big following, but I would like somebody to get something out of it. Like if they watch a video, I would like you to come watch a video because you want to learn how to play the song. Like that's like the kind of video I would like to try and make for people, because that sometimes helps me out. Like when somebody made a video and I can't figure out a part, and even if I sometimes have the sheet music and I still can't understand what the hell's going on, I'll go watch the video and I'm like, hey, look at that. Now I know what to do. So that's one aspect of what I would like my videos to be viewed as. An influencer, I mean, I guess to a certain degree, but I guess if it happens organically, I'm okay with that. I'm not like trying to push myself onto people to influence them, because that's not my style. You know what I mean? So if you get influenced by what I'm doing, I'm happy as a clam with that. But I'm not going to try and push that onto people. So does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Yeah. You don't want to kind of be like this show off, so to speak. I don't want to say narcissist or anything like that, but you want to show people you care and that they hope they learn something, because that's also what I do with my covers.
Yeah.
My covers, that's
great.
I like to do it. Unfortunately, I kind of suffer from a little bit of perfectionism for it, but I also want to try to play like, here's what I'm hearing when I'm listening to the song, and here's my best shot at it, so to speak. Now, true, I do a good number of takes and everything, but it's at least,
of course,
it's at least what it is. So that's my interpretation of it. And did you also like suffer from a good amount of negative comments in the beginning, or they kind of like show up every now and again?
They show up every now and again. Some of them is like, oh, you rushed this part or whatever. Yeah, I know I rushed the part, but like, I'm not going to go do it again. So that's the part, and that's what it's going to be at the moment. So, what I sometimes will do is I'll put them and I'll pin them right to the top of the list, because I don't care. If you want to, I'll take, and if it's constructive criticism, I'm completely fine with constructive criticism. And most of the time, it's nothing terrible. Nobody's like, it's not like a personal attack or anything. Well, first of all, they don't know me, so I don't know how they could personally attack me. But, I've had some silly comments, or you get some spamming comments or something like that. So they either get removed before I can remove them, or I just remove, the spam comments. If somebody has a criticism, I will not remove that. I will not do anything. I will pin it to the top of the comment section for everybody to see it, because I don't care. I'm not offended by it. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Do you also get like the foreign language at times? I've seen a couple that were like Portuguese or Spanish at times.
Oh yeah. Yes, and then sometimes you can do the translation, and then, or sometimes I'll copy and paste and bring it and translate it and see what it says, and then I'll respond, because most of the time it's not a negative thing. It's just they were typing in a different language. So, I mean, I've had, I think, Russian or Yugoslav, I don't know, some kind of language from over that area in the Eastern Bloc. A lot of Spanish, sometimes French. So, but I'll just open up a Google or a translator thing and throw it in there and see what happens, see what they say.
Yeah.
And then I'll go respond. Otherwise, sometimes I'm like, well, I'll just hit the love or the like button and but I'd rather figure out what they're trying to say and at least give them a response. If they took the time to leave a comment, I want to give them a comment back. So
normally when it's a negative comment,
good or bad.
If it's like one of those trolls, I'll probably just be saying in my mind, and I use the Lord of the Rings, which is what you mentioned earlier. I just say, they got a cave troll now. Yeah,
that works. And I've used that before as well. But there was one video, somebody left a comment, and I was like, yeah, this is just a troll comment. Yeah. It was like, I'm sure you rock, and I'm sure you're a troll or something like that. Because what else am I going to say? I'm not going to get in an argument with people on the internet. I'm too old for that nonsense.
Yeah. Life's better without any drama, which I kind of wish everybody would just get used to at this point. But nope, we seem to make dramatic about the smallest of things.
Yeah, and I think, most of the people that are in the community support each other. I see a lot of that, and I don't see a lot of negative negative comments coming from. I mean, I think everybody tries to support each other, because that's, I think, to make other people, other channels, if the drummers that are beginners or coming up and they're still learning. Well, there's only one way to. You could tell them they suck, but that's not gonna do anything for their confidence. That's just gonna make it worse for that person. So why don't you just give it? I would say, I think constructive criticism is one of the best things that you could do, because at least it's coming from I think would be coming from a good spot to only make somebody better, not to degrade them and make them feel bad about themselves.
Yeah, because that has.
And once.
I was going to say that really does have a negative impact, because it really starts affecting them mentally, and then you don't know what they could do. They could really throw them over the ledge, so that's really dangerous too.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I don't condone that, and I don't condone, like, listen, you're doing a drum video. Don't make fun of the way the person looks. This is not. First, this isn't high school. This isn't middle school. Don't go. No personal attacks aren't needed. If you want to critique the drumming, okay, fair game, but no need to attack the person that you probably don't even know and you've never talked to, so you don't even have any grounds to say anything about it. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and spoken like a true prodigy. All right, so we now reached this part of the podcast where now I give my interviewees a little bit of freedom to ask me anything, or if there's anything you'd like to get off your chest. So fire away.
Well, how about you? Have you had any bands? Have you played in any bands? Done any?
I was actually going to play in a. Actually, I did two. Yeah, I was trying to remember, because I know one was a cover band, and that one was a band up the street from not too far from where I'm at, and we were kind of just doing we were just a cover band, just doing 90s hard rock and stuff like that. So like Smashing Pumpkins. Let's see, we did do Stone Temple Pilots. I forget which song. No, I think it was Trampling on a Purple Heart. That's what it was. Trampling on a Purple Heart or something, or whatever that song title is. And Green Day and stuff like that. The second one was more of a typical band. It was like, I want to say kind of like classic rock in a way, because we had like our own little keyboard, guitar, bass, and I was a drummer. And this was actually a professor from a college I went to, and we were good friends. And when he found out I was playing drums, he invited me down, and I got to know him. We were called the Random Misfits. And I don't know what happened, but we lost touch. I don't know what happened. And I've been trying to reach out to him. I've texted, I called, emailed, and I got no response. So I don't know what happened. And I think it was after October of last year, and then we lost touch. So I've just been kind of flying solo, just doing this and some drum covers. That's about it.
Yeah. Hey, I understand. I mean, well, luckily now we're getting around summertime. I'm always happy with my band, if we take the winter slow or take the winter off, especially around here, because I just don't like trudging through the snow and everything at like 2:00 in the morning and get home at 4 in the morning. So summertime now, there's a lot of outdoor gigs. So I'm very excited. We have some really huge gigs coming up around June and August and July. So I'm looking forward to getting back out and playing in front of a crowd. I love doing the YouTube thing just for myself, just to make myself happy. So I try, I think first and foremost, I do it for myself. I don't really do it for anybody else. So, sometimes when people ask me if they can make requests, I'll say, yeah, you can make the request. I might not do that song. I might do a song from that artist, but I might not do that song, because if I can't connect with the song, there's a lot of effort that goes into doing a drum cover and doing the video and doing the music, doing the production and the whole 9 yards. So if it just doesn't resonate with me, do the song. Does that ever happen to you?
I think I got a request a couple times. I think one was Mass Appeal Madness by Napalm Death, but that was about the extent of it. Back then I tried to ask hey, would you like me to try any other songs from Napalm Death, for instance, because I did about 3 or 4 of them, and some of the comments I got, they really liked it, so I asked for their opinion. Really, more of the recent covers, not so much. I've just been kind of sticking to like what I mentioned in my Facebook post with Silverstein. It's my Teenage Rebellion project. So
Yes.
I've been kind of sticking with that, but I kind of moved away from it because now I'm doing a collaboration with a friend of mine from Greece. We're doing Dream Theater's The Root of All Evil.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be awesome. I saw Stamos. It was his name.
Stamatis.
The guy you're doing it with. Yes, I know him. Shoot, I had a question for you. No, I forgot it. All right. What do you? Yeah. Well, it might come back to me. I don't.
Do you have another question, I guess, or anything that you would like to specifically say?
No, not at the moment. I don't.
The question returned to you yet?
Not really. Man. Oh, yes. Have you ever seen Napalm Death live?
I have not, and I kind of wish I did, but I was born in the 90s, so I think they were just starting off then. I didn't know about them way until my adult years, so I kind of felt kind of bad, and I think I know Barney Greenway. He's a pretty crazy guy out on the stage, but he gives it his all, so I really respect him for that. I would say.
So the reason I asked, I got to see them in 2018 with Napalm Death opened, Testament, Lamb of God, and Slayer closed. That was Slayer's farewell tour. It was badass. Me and my wife, we went and saw it together. That was one of her first big metal shows, like with like Slayer and Testament and stuff like that. Man. Yeah, we had fun though.
Fucking
it was good.
Slayer.
And they were a trip. Slayer. Napalm Death was a trip. They opened up. And they did like maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes or whatever, and then they just, like you said, the singer, everybody put their all phenomenal. They just put their all into it, and like, man, they just kind of like steamroll you, get off stage, and you're like, what the hell did I just watch?
They were like, they did like one album was like the shortest.
Good band though. It was fun.
I should like shortest album because I know some of the songs they just did with like 3 seconds or anywhere in like a minute or something.
Yeah.
Then they kind of like started expanding a little more, but they still incorporated like speed and stuff like that when they brought in Barney. But I kind of feel bad for him because I think his voice is really shot now, so he's not the same like what he used to
that
be.
For that long and not have it. I think like even the Phil Anselmo, I think his voice is kind of shot at the moment, from all those years of screaming with Pantera and all Down and Super Joint Ritual and every other band he's ever had. So I think it happens after a while. I don't know how it can. I mean, just imagine they get like calluses or something that, forms over their vocal cords. I am no singer and I'm no growler. So I'm not speaking from experience, so I'm just speculating here.
Well, I know like Phil Anselmo, speaking of which, you listen to him on Cowboys from Hell, he's kind of like the Rob Halford kind of voice, and then like it seems it's just gone completely in well, maybe not entirely gone, because I know at some points he does like softer, high-pitched vocals and like some of the other albums he did with Pantera. I think the problem is you abuse it so much, you're just having fun, or you're jacked up on whatever beer or drugs you're taking at the time.
My voice
you don't really pay attention. Muscle, you don't,
and you do have to keep that in shape, like
so
any other muscle, and take care of it, especially if you're a singer. So if you're smoking, drinking, taking other things, you're not protecting your instrument. So, however, yeah. So I just had a conversation with one of my old bandmates actually today, and I was like, it is fun just to like, because a lot of people that I know now that we were all using and abusing together, some of us have come out the other side, made it through. And I was like, it's just fun now to play our instruments or sing or whatever you do, just to do it, just because we love to do it. And that's why we started this. We didn't start this for drugs and trying to get famous and trying to get women and all this stuff. We started because we love to do it. And if you can get back to that, I think that's the best thing you could do for really anything in life. Whatever you love to do, if you can just do that for the love of doing it and not any ulterior motive, I think you're good. Depending on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So we're down to the last question, and we've pretty much rolled for a good hour about now. So, last question: what sort of hopeful message can you give to musicians out there who've perhaps went through a similar experience that you did? Or,
well, with COVID, I had COVID twice. So, well, one thing I would suggest is really it's a lifestyle change. I would so for the drug thing, if you're trying to get out of it, you need to do that for yourself. Meaning, if you don't want to stop doing drugs, then you won't stop doing drugs. If somebody else wants you to stop doing drugs, you are not going to be stop doing drugs. Could be exercise, just eating better. Maybe do baby steps. Whatever your addiction is, maybe if you have multiple, try to get rid of one and work on that, and then work on the as you get better or whatever. For the COVID thing, I think, you still got to be careful, but I also think you live once, and I think if you want to go play in a band and go play in front of people, I really think do it and have fun, and protect yourself or do what you feel you need to do to feel safe. Don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to live. That's what I would say. And play and have fun. That's my message.
That's good. And yeah, the most obvious ones: go play and have fun.
Yes.
That sort of thing.
We are. Yeah, that was over a while
Vermont,
ago, and then they got rid of the masks.
Some of their COVID restrictions,
like mandates, a while ago.
Done with lockdowns and everything.
And then it's now you can. So if you feel like you want to do that, if you feel kind of personal choice, which I'm a big proponent of. So that's all I can say. All I can say is I don't like when people tell me like what to do, and then they don't do what they say to tell. They don't practice what they preach. So all hypocrites can get out of my way, because I don't subscribe to your nonsense. You know what I mean? So yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, that stuff drives me crazy at times when you see stuff like that, and then it just becomes a political talking point at times, and it just drives you even more crazy too. But it's good to see that Vermont looks like you guys are stepping in the right direction. So looks like you guys are at least back on track to get somewhat back to normal. I know Pennsylvania is kind of like that too.
Do the best you can.
I think we're all trying to get there.
Do what's right.
This upcoming
what
winter
you think is right for you.
Interesting. So I'll have to see what happens.
That's my message to everyone.
Okay. All right. Well, Joey, we reached the end of my podcast, and I've exhausted all my questions. So, is there any shout-outs you want to give?
I'll just give a shout-out to
Attic
Custom Drum.
Any other messages?
Dramatic. Drumman 190, I'll give a shout-out to him, because I had an excellent time on your podcast, and I appreciate you having me on here. So, and maybe one day we should do a collab. That would be fun. Maybe we could do Napalm Death. I'll do Pantera if you want to do a Pantera one. I think whatever you want to do.
Pantera one at some point.
Sounds good to me. If you want to do, I'll do Pantera any. Big Pantera
I'll have to
fan.
think it over.
So. Cool.
All right, I'll think it over.
All right. Cool. All right.
Okay.
Well, they can reach.
All
Well,
right.
if they want to me, if they want to find out anything
All right,
about
and I
personal
guess,
training, they can go to
where can people reach you at?
concentricfitness.com, or they can just check out my Facebook page, which I believe is Leadfoot Joe, and or Instagram is Leadfoot Joe, and my YouTube channel, Joey Clark Drums. You can get a hold of me. So, but yeah. But any one of those works.
All right. So.
Yeah. So, Facebook at Leadfoot Joe,
I'm sorry.
Instagram at Leadfoot Joe, YouTube at Joey Clark Drums, and or for personal training, they could go to concentricfitness.com. That's all of them.
All right. I'll make sure they go and check it out right there. And everyone, my guest today was Joey Clark. Make sure you go and subscribe to his YouTube channel and check out any of his social media and personal training website there and everything. So, Joey, coming on, buddy. So stay safe. Stay tuned, y'all.